Good morning. How are you guys doing today? What we're going to be working on is AllieChat. It is a Angular CLI application for the front end, and then we have an ASP.NET MVC application for the landing page, and that one is search engine optimized. We also have an identity server 4 for our authorization server. We have the static server itself, which routes our RSS messages from place to place, so you can route messages to or from Discord, Twitch, over TCP, or over WebSocket. I have a couple of test clients set up, and then additionally I have a web API set up for clients. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to redeploy this thing from scratch. So I'm going to select my web API here as my startup project, and I'm going to look at my code first here, and it looks like I've got two contexts, one for AllieChat identity context and one for application DB context. If I look at identity, it looks like I've pulled that out here. Okay, so let's go ahead and do a package manager console. I wonder why my camera's blipping. Maybe it's time for a new camera. And what I want to do is select my core web API. I'm sorry, core domain code first, and we'll issue an update database. This will take just a second. While this works, I need to check a global variable, so give me just 1 second. Just 1 more second, please. Where's my connection strings? There they are. Dev connection string is pushing to there. And my other connection string is startup default connection. So that's inside of the app settings. There it is. Okay, so we're good there. Let's bring this back. And now it's telling me I need to specify a context, so we're going to do context application DB context. There it is. And it's done. This should have seed data, which is in my context itself. So let me check that to make sure I can display that on screen. Okay, I've got providers in here. I've got my default user. I've got my purchasable items. And that looks good. And then in my identity context, it looks like I've got another string, so we can clean that up off air. So the next thing I'm going to do is open up my identity server as my default project, and we need to deploy this as AllieChat identity, and I want to do an update database, and there are 3 contexts in this one for identity server 4. We have a persistent grant DB context. Sorry, it's called persisted grant DB context. Okay, the next one that we're going to add is a configuration DB context. And then the last one is update database. And this one is called your AllieChat identity context. This is inside of the Code First project. This should have a dependency on AllieChat domain paths and the context. Where am I defining my context? Just a second. So this looks like I moved the context out, but so this is fine. I can display this on screen. So when I look at this, it looks like we're adding this database, application database context, and then I'm adding identity for the application users and the roles. So let me go into AllieChat identity context. This is interesting. This is all my tables. But I don't know why this isn't just an identity database context. So if I look back here at the startup, and I look at what this is, identity data application database context, that context is for use so that I can retrieve data out of the identity server database, which I should be doing with claims, so we can fix that. And this looks good. It's not doing anything special. Okay, so to clean this up, we say that we're getting the default connection here called default connection. I'm going to move that into my globals file. Just a second. I can't show that. Oh, just one more second. Here it is. I'm going to put this as my public const string, and we're going to call this my dev connection string identity. And then in here, we can just use my what's called globals dot and then this one. Okay. Hey there, remote. How are you doing, man? It's been a little bit. Good to have you back with us. Eddie Dre, does AllieChat have any bot command capabilities? It does. That is one of the features that it has. So that looks right. We fixed this. We want to set my identity server here and do an update database called application database context. Okay, it tells me my build is failing. Down here, this is going to be globals dot this one, and then the same thing here. And we can add a few more authorization providers on this. So let's finish adding our database. Okay. And now that that's done, we can run the identity server to seed everything. Okay, wait for the processes to stop. And we're good. Okay, the next thing that we're going to do is we can deploy this thing out, this identity server, to my test server. So let's do that right now. The first thing I want to do is go to my Git, and I want to look at this. Come on. Hold on one second, I'm in the wrong project. Come on. Come on, source tree. Okay. And what we're going to do is we're going to commit these, and we're going to say pushing to test server. And we'll push that out. And now what I want to do is I'm going to make a branch here called test. And we're going to push this out as well. So on my test server, I need to change some of these global properties. When I look at them, I need to change my identity server URL, because that's now going to be https://identity.allie.chat, identity.test.allie.chat, and my identity server user info endpoint is https://identity.test.allie.chat. And we haven't pushed out our web API, our web app, or our web app landing page yet. But let me go ahead and do this anyways. My web API URL is https://api.test.allie.chat. And my web app URL is https://allie.chat. https://app.allie.chat. And then our static SEO website is https://allie.chat. Then I have some stuff in here for the TCP servers, which I don't care about at the moment. And then I have my connection strings here. So we're going to change this to say test connection string. And I want this to be phs.allie.chat.test. And my identity one will be the same thing with identity at the end. Okay, that looks good. And now what I'm going to do is we're going to open up my test server, which is here. And I'm also going to open up my Amazon Web Services console. And what I need to do is I need to set up this site. So here in IIS, what I want to do is look at my sites that I have, and we're going to make a new one in here for Allie.Chat. So I'm going to right click and do a add website, and the site name is called phs.allie.chat.identity.test. And my physical path is going to be here in phs.allie.chat.identity.test. Now what I need to do is get a password, so just a second here. I don't need to mute it for this. Just one more second here. This one here. Okay, I can bring you guys back now. And what I want to do is look at my connect as in here. We're going to point it to my domain connection here called phsiis user, and then we'll paste in the password. When we test it, it works correctly. The next thing I want to do is I want to do a, it's going to go to identity.test.allie.chat. The next thing I need to do is go to the application pool for this and go to advanced settings, and we're going to change this because it's in .NET Core to be no managed code. We want it to be always running. We want to have my timeout minutes to be 0, and we want to log in as this user. Now in my Amazon Route 53, I need to route to this machine. I don't know if I can show this yet. Just a second. I don't think I want to, but maybe I can. Yeah, I don't want to show this. So what I want to do here is look at this new record set, and I want to point it to identity.test.allie.chat. And I'm going to point that to a C name, which is, I'm going to mute this one just a second. Like that. And that should be it for the routing. So now when I go to DNS propagation, I can type in identity.test.allie.chat. I can see some of it is already populated. It's so fast. So that means now that back in here, I can open this back up full screen, and we can run Let's Encrypt on it. So we can give it an SSL cert. Is it updating? There we go. Weird. Okay, and this one is called identity.test.allie.chat, which is number 11 here. And you can see that it's routed, so we can want to replace the existing task, and we don't want to specify the user that it'll run as. And then back here in bindings, I can get rid of the binding for port 80 and set up SSL. Okay, so that's done. So let me change a couple of variables in here. I'm going to look for all of my dev identity string. Let's get rid of this one, and this one. Okay. And now we can fix these errors that we have. And this one is test. This one is test. And this one is test. Okay, let me fix this one over here. Okay. And now what we need to do is deploy this one more time. So we're going to do an update database here for the application database context. And in my SQL server here, I should see this database populate. And there it is. And then we need to do the configuration database context and the persisted grant database context. Okay, we'll run it to see the database. Okay, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to publish it. And I can put this right onto my folder in my IIS here. And here it goes. It goes in this one. Okay, it's done. One thing I want to do is edit this profile and make sure that it's set to delete all files. And we want it to be Win64 and self-contained. And we'll do it again. And while this works, I'm going to open up here. That's fine. Publish it again. I'm going to open up here my identity server for, and we want discovery URL. Detected package downgrade. Well, we'll fix that in just a second. And this is the URL that we're going to go to. This is really weird because it wasn't doing this before. Okay, same problem. So what I want to do is go to my NuGet packages for the solution. And in this one, I'm going to select Entity Framework SQL Server here. And over here, we can look at this, and I should have 2.14 on code first. .14 on code first. .16 there. 2.14 on identity server. .14, and it wants to be on 11. And now we'll deploy it again. Give it just a second. Okay, and it's done. And so now what I can do is I can look at my, just a second, I need to check one thing. Okay. Now what I can do is open up that discovery endpoint, which is at https://Allie. It was identity.test.Allie.Chat, like that. And there it is. So it's working. Okay, so our identity server is hooked up. So that's phase one. The next one that I want to hook up here is this web API. So let me check my startup here. Make sure it's safe to show. It looks quite safe. So when I look at this, this has a timer on it, which is not being used, I guess. And then we have well, it says it's being used there. So that's not right. It's just never being disposed. So when I look at this, I'm adding here my database context, which is the one that's in here, domain code first. I'm adding MVC, I'm adding signal R, I'm adding bearer tokens. I need to check that. Hey Chuck, how are you doing, man? There is no turning back is published on Android now. Okay, those two look fine. My CORS policy, I need to check my URLs. Okay, and then what service locator am I using? In ASP.NET? I'm using ASP.NET Core, so it's the built-in one, but the one that I used before was Unity. I haven't used Ninjet or whatever that one is. Looks like I'm creating here a services for the web API. I have a services ping. I have a TCP chat client, which is going to relay messages to here. We'll need to look at what that is. A PayPal poll, a services PayPal, and then a services identity server, which we can probably remove, because I should be doing this with claims. Looks like I'm exposing this as signal R, so that's why I have the TCP client, which is reading from Allie.Chat. Looks like I have Swagger here, and then I have a polling callback where I'm updating my services that I've created. Okay, so when I look at this, I'm going to need to change some of the properties in here, such as the URL, port, and these other properties. Sweet, it looks like it supports lots of stuff out of the box, like add signal R. Nice. Well, add signal R is another package that I added. But this service locator is built into ASP.NET Core. So let me look at these here to make sure that everything is fair. My web API chat server is going to be https://tcp.test.allie.chat. And the port will make it 6660. And the ping will be 120 seconds. Your MongoDB database connection string looks right. So back over here, our port is set. My end of line characters are set. That's set, the identity server. The chat and secret, we need to change the secret. So just a second. I'll use this tool. Called Remote Desktop Manager. And I can go to Tools, and go to Generators and do a password generator. And here I can say that the password length should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24 characters. It can have uppercase and lowercase and digits. No special characters. And then generate. So there they are. Let me go ahead and generate one from this. We can bring that in here. Okay. If I look here at my production PayPal instances, that's never being used. Just another second here. Okay, I need to have another password in here, which is going to be 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 characters. And it can have a special number. So there we go. I'll use this one. Okay. My AllieChat WebSocket URL is https://ws.test.allie.chat. And my WebSocket port will be 81111. Okay, I need an AllieChat TCP listening IP. Just a second here. So for that one, I want to use the I'm going to use this one. Just a second. I don't want to display this, so stay with me for just a second. Okay, I'll use that one. And that should be good. My TCP chat password, I changed that. No, I didn't. So in this one, we need to make another password here. And this one is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 characters. Uppers, lowers, digits, no digits. Yeah, digits. And specials. So let me do that one. And then for my secret, I need to do one, two. Hey there, Standard Gamer. How are you doing? Thank you for the host with one viewer. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. Appreciate the support. Okay. And let me make sure that I got that done here. Just one more second. And this password is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. So where did that tool go? Here it is. So we want 25 with no specials, but digits are okay. And I'm going to use this one and copy it in. Okay. And that looks good. And then my other polls and timers. Okay. So this thing's not going to work without AllieChat running. My job, we're working on porting a huge piece of legacy code to modern infrastructure behind a web API. This is an area where you would win. Yeah, use ASP.NET Core Web API. That's my advice. Yeah, no worries there, Chuck. Anytime. I'm always around. Hey there, Standard Gamer. Welcome. Okay. So this looks mostly done here except for that TCP poll, which isn't going to connect. If I look here, it should be passing in my parameters here to my async client auth. Which here is using a token and passing in an OAuth token across the pipe. So to deploy this, I'm going to need to have this server up and running here. But the first thing that I need to do is go into the databases. And since I changed some of those settings, I'm going to get rid of the identity test for AllieChat. Oh, yeah, we're way past that actually already. The web service itself is in .NET Core and the API is in .NET Standard, as some old piece of .NET Framework still need to use it. I'm not the most familiar with .NET Standard. So if I look here at my connection string, should be fine. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do a update database -c persisted grant db context. Hey, it's Chuck. Make sure you get the game on either Steam, it's $1.99 now, or it's on Android for free. And write a review because I just posted it. So it wants 2.1.4.0 across the board. So Microsoft Entity Framework Core, which is 2.1.4. Here, 2.1.4. Oh, I bought it on Steam the day of the release. Oh, you're talking about the Play Store now. Yeah, thanks. I love Entity Framework. I love Entity Framework, man. I love ORMs. Okay, we're going to rebuild that now. And that time it built. So this time we're going to do the persisted grant database context. Come on. We're going to do the configuration database context. And we need to do the application database context. Okay, now over here on the web API, we need to do the domain code first as an update database -c application DB context. Yes, Eddie Dre, this will be free. Now, while this works, one of my concerns was this. Where am I using this context for the this thing? This is in Services Identity Server. Can I show this? Just a second. And this is because you're using the identity service to manage your client apps on AllieChat. So this looks pretty good except for this, to connect to the TCP. So let's go ahead and publish. So the first thing I need to do is add that endpoint here called just a second. This one is called api.test.allie.chat. We're going to point it to here. This was api.test.allie.chat. Okay, give me just a second. Okay. And back over here. Okay, so that's been added in. And so now we can go check the DNS prop. And it's working. So now what I can do is go into here, and I'm going to make a new site called phs.allie.chat.webapi.test, and we'll make a folder in my IIS directory called phs.allie.chat.webapi.test. web API.test. And we're going to say that this is at api.test.allie.chat. Now I need to get a password, so just a second here. Got it. And I want to connect here as my PHSIIS user. We'll test it, and we'll start the website. And now we need to go into my application pool and change it to be not managed, to be always running, to be running on this account, and to time out after 0 minutes. And we're going to recycle it. And now what I'm going to do is jump over into Let's Encrypt. Awesome, I know this will support Twitch and Discord chat. Could I use it to create a custom chat provider? Yes. Could I create a custom chat provider? I'm thinking about making some parts of this open source so that you'd be able to add onto it. I understand what you're saying. You could also tell me which chat provider it is, and then we can add it in here on stream. So we want to do 11. We're going to get our SSL cert for it. We got it. And we're routed. So now in here I can turn off my bindings for 80. And then I can change my SSL settings to be required. And now in our app, I want to look at this one, and I want to do a publish. Oh, okay, yeah, we could definitely hook it up with Facebook. So then we would be able to take in Facebook messages, and you'd be able to relay them however you want. So TCP WebSocket or into other providers. My target location is going to be different. So let's change this. And this one's going to be in my I folder called Web API Test. And that looks right. And we're going to save it and publish it. It uses server-side events and also has webhooks. Okay, that's very similar to Discord. And it's done. And so now what I should be able to do is go to https://api.test.allie.chat. It says it cannot be found. Because it wants to be Swagger. And there it is. So you can see it's working. Now currently this is trying to connect to my AllieChat server. So we need to deploy that one next. Well, let's do this one next. So this is my SEO landing site. It doesn't have anything special on it at the moment. So what I'm going to do is jump over into here. And I want to add an endpoint, a routing endpoint, to go to my www.AllieChat.com, and we want to send that to here. So just a second. Just a second while I add this in. We'll save it. And then I'll do it here as well. That's interesting. Well, it doesn't like that one, which is interesting. But I can use this. And we can route that one through my AWS server. Okay. So that one's done. So now that that's routed, we can go back in here and I can start a new site called phs.allie.chat .test. And we're going to put that here in my IIS folder. Call it phs.allie.chat.test. And this is just going to be at www.allie.chat. And we want to connect as my user, phs user, and let me get that password again. Okay. Now that that's done, just like before, we're going to go into the application pool for it and change the advanced settings here. And we want this to be no managed code, always running at my identity, phs IIS user, and with a timeout of 0. And then we'll go to Let's Encrypt. And I want to get my bindings here to be test.allie.chat. And we also want to have one for test.allie.chat. Okay, just a second here. So that one's fixed, and then this one needs to be www.test.allie.chat. Okay. So now that that's done, I'm going to open up Let's Encrypt. And I want to get test.alliechat.com and test.alliechat. So we want to do 11 and 12. That one's done. And then 12. And then in here, we want to change the bindings and get rid of these two 80s. Now I'm also going to need to have another site called phs.allie.chat.test.http, which is going to use that same application pool. And I'm going to point this one at the new folder called phs.allie.chat.test.http. And we're going to connect here again as the phs IIS user. And this is going to be test.allie.chat. And we also want to add in here www.test.allie.chat. And in this one, I need to look at another routing one that I have set up. Just a second. Where would I want to look at that one? So what I should be able to do is go into my URL rewrite and add a new rule. And this one's going to be called phs.allie.chat.test.http. And we want to say when it matches the pattern, which is, I'm trying to remember how to do this. If I look at my, just a second. If I look at this one, if I look at this one here, let me go to a different one just a second, please. I'm going onto my production AWS server. I don't want to show this. Just another section minute. Okay, now I can come back. Now what I want to do is look at this one here because I already have a bunch of these rewrite rules already established. So like this one. Looks like I'm doing this with redirect. So this one, I can just redirect it to https://test.allie.chat. Like this with a 308 for a permanent redirect. Okay. So now we need to deploy our app. So we'll select it and we'll do a publish here of the app. And we want to do this to a folder called phs.allie.chat.test. And I want it to be a release self-contained on 64 infrastructure, and we want to remove everything, and let's publish it. Okay, it told me that there's a package downgrade again. So let's look at my NuGet packages. And Entity Framework Core Tools. It wants to be up at 2.1.11, and we'll update it. Okay. We will try to republish it again into the same location. check out Discord on how I can start using the service. Sure. Thanks, Eddie. This is the test server. It's not the production one. The production one I'll be putting up after this passes all my tests. Okay, that's done. And now we can jump over here and go to Allie.Chat. Sorry, test.Allie.Chat. And you can see it takes me here. And I can log in. Now, it looks like that it's got the wrong URL still in here for my app. So let me see where that's happening. Just a second. Where is that getting the information to send to there? So what I want to look at here is when we click on our login, which is here in shared layout, we have it referencing something directly, which is not right. So let me change this to be this one. So let's see if it'll let me do it. I want to do an @Allie.Chat.domain.paths.globals.that URL. And let's redeploy it. It's telling me I had the same problem again. So if I look at this identity server project file, it says it's using 2.1.11. So we'll try it again. I don't understand what's happening here. Let me unload this project and try it again. So it says that it's dependency. Let's get rid of this and try to publish it again. I'm also going to create another record set in here to go to the WebSocket URL, so just a second. Almost done here. Okay. Now back here, it tells me that in startup, we can get rid of a couple of places. Why does this want the database? Because you're using the same application database context and user in here. So if I was to add a reference to AllieChat where is it? I want Allie.Chat.identity. Why don't I see it here? Because you have a default connection here, which you can also get rid of. And you want to do a globals dot connection string identity. So if I was to look in my identity server, at this application database context, this is an identity database context, which should have all the same things in it as this one. But this comes from, no, it's different. So we're going to make a new project here. Call it a class library in .NET Core. And I want to call it domain Allie.Chat.domain.codefirst.identity. Allie.Chat.domain.codefirst.identity. And in this one, I'm going to bring in this application database context. And then this users. And I'm going to bring this one, and we can get rid of this. And then in my models, I'll bring in my application database user and get rid of that. This project should be 2.1. And in this, I want to add in a database context for the identity framework core. And also these options here. So we're going to go in here and go to my NuGet packages for the solution. And I want to look at this and I want to say, Microsoft ASP.NET Identity Framework Core. And I want to put that here as 2.1.4. Okay, and then this one we can just make a reference to it, like that. Microsoft Extensions Identity Store. Microsoft Extensions Identity Stores 2.1.6. We'll install it. Okay. So now in here we can change this to be Allie.Chat.domain.codefirst.identity. And then the same thing here. And so now here, this doesn't know where to grab it, so we can now point it to code first identity. And it's very happy with me. And if I were to rebuild this, it's going to say that I don't have a couple of things in here, and we need to add in this to code first identity. AllieChat domain code first identity uses 2.1.6, which should be 2.1.1. Stores. Identity stores. 2.1.1. Okay, we need to add in the references now to a bunch of places. There. And then here we need to fix this one. And then we're going to rebuild it. Here. We're going to add it to the code first there. It says that that's the wrong one. So is it my services register needs to be from code first identity. And then the same thing here. Looks like we have one more error here. And then the last one is in my seed data, which I can't show. Which is like that. And now we can rebuild it. Okay, and then we can deploy it. The next one we have to do is the app. So I'm going to create a new record set called app.allie.chat. Just a second while I input that name. Okay. That needs to be app.test.allie.chat. This says it's too many characters. So how do we want to fix this? We'll just say identity. And then when I look at my properties on this, we need to change this to be that one. And then we want to get rid of this code first here. which is going to change a bunch of stuff here for us. Okay, we'll rebuild it. Okay, we're going to look here and fix this stuff. Same thing with this one. And then the last one is in my seed data that I can't show. Like that. And we'll rebuild it. Looks good. Now we can deploy it. Just there. It's working real hard. AllieChat says it can't find this one. But it says it can't find it because those dependencies are missing. So when I reload it, okay, that worked. Now we can deploy it again. We'll try it again. Okay, so that's deployed. The next one that we want to do is the app. So that's over here. We need to do a, let me look at my variables here to make sure that everything is set correctly. Just a second. Just another second. Where did I put this? Globals.service. Okay, the web API URL is https://api.test.allie.chat. The web app is https://app.test.allie.chat. That all looks normal. That looks right. Okay. So now we're going to do an ng build /prod to build my Angular site. Prod equals true. Just do an ng build. And that's working. Oh, it's double. It's double. So here's our distributed. So if I was to look at this, I don't see where it put it. ng build -- production. Enable local login. Let me look here for enable local login. This is local. Let's try it again. Over in my IIS, I don't have one for app yet. So we're going to create a new site for phs.Allie.Chat.app.test. And I'm going to give it a path here called phs.Allie.Chat.app.test. And I need to get that password now. Okay. We're going to go ahead and connect here as this one user. And I want this to be at app.Allie.Chat, app.test.Allie.Chat. And then in my application pool, we want to change this to be no managed code, always running with a timeout of 0. And we want to do this as phsiis user, like that. We're going to go to Let's Encrypt and add the SSL cert on this, which is at app.test.AllieChat, which is 13. There it is. And then in here we can go to the bindings and remove the 80. Remove the 80 and make this SSL yes. Okay. Back over here, we're going to close everything and save our changes and try it again. Almost. So now we need to go to my client implicit component.html property front channel logout URL. I don't think this is really one. Yeah, see, it's not. So here we can just get rid of this. And now it should render. Almost done here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this in my PHS app folder. As soon as this finishes. Okay, we're going to open this up. We're just going to bring this in. And now what we're going to do is go to here. And we're going to go to test.AllieChat. We'll go to login. This should take me here and then redirect me to the identity server. So it got the wrong URL in here somewhere. That's a rendered file. Okay, let me change this here in my auth config to be https://identity.test.allie.chat. And the post logout URL will be https://www.test.allie.chat. We're going to redeploy this. Now, one thing I need to do in my IIS server is look at this. Well, it's in my NAT server, right? Because I need to open those ports up that it uses. So in here, we're going to go to routing and remote access. And I think it's in this. Let me go double check this. Yep, this is it. And what I need to do is I need to tell it which IP we want to go to. So if I look at my IIS server, it's at 17. So in here, I want to add a new service in here called websocket.test.allie.chat. And when I look at this ports that this runs on, the TCP one is, the WebSocket one is, whoa, hold on. This needs to be 8111, and it goes to 10.11.0.17, 8111. And the other one is tcp.test.allie.chat. And this one goes to 8610, 10.11.0.17, like that. So that's routed. we're going to take this app and move it to the right folder, which is here. Confusing what I'm doing here. Okay. And now we can go back and look at the site. Do a login. It was stopped by my cores. So that means that an identity do I need to add a core service to identity? Just a second. I feel like I do. So I'm going to add this core statement to my startup below everything, below my bearer token. Right there. Okay, and then finally I also need to have my use cores underneath use authentication. And we're going to go ahead and deploy this again. And I'll need to look at, there is no turning back to see if I have a core service on the identity server. I didn't think I needed one there. Okay, we got to do it one more time. And we'll try it again. This should be redirecting me here. Same thing. App.test. Second. App.test.Allie.Chat. Interesting. I wonder what's going on with this, why it's not letting me. Oh. Process failure. Well, that's interesting. That's interesting. So I'm going to get rid of this add cores service again and try to redeploy it. Okay, let's go ahead and check it again. Interesting. So what would make this fail from last time to now? Let's just walk through this. Passwords must have at least one non-alphanumeric character. That's an easy fix. Let's try it again. That time it started up. We'll do it again. Let's leave this out for now and just try to republish it again because I don't think it's failing the pre-flight check. Okay, we need to do it one more time. Okay, that's done. We'll check it. Now it's running. We try it again. This time we don't fail our pre-flight check. But we fail our OAuth key, so that's an easy fix. So the only thing left is the service. So let's just see if it breaks or if it starts. Let me get rid of all of this and then this. So in the service, we're just going to go ahead and publish this onto the desktop. Almost done. Okay, which is, where did that put it? Here. So I'm just going to copy this onto my IIS server. And we'll connect. And it's going to start the server and say, no such host is known in the TCP server. So we have a little bit there to fix. Thank you there, Hotro Bubba, for that follow. Very much appreciate that. So I need to take a break and go get some food. I may be back in a couple of hours. I might not be. It looks like I need a new webcam. Thanks for staying with me today. If you have any questions, make sure that you put them into our chat, discord.pixelhorrorstudios.com. I put all these videos up at youtube.pixelhorrorstudios.com. And let's just say we'll be back here at 6 o'clock p.m. PST. And if not, then it'll be 6 a.m. tomorrow morning. So thanks for staying with me, guys. Have a great rest of your day. And I will talk to you a little later. Bye.